15 years, blowing the doors off the competition, podcasting to planet Earth.
PNRnetworks.com.
And now, here's your guide to independent thinking, Dr. Anthony Barrow Blake, Director of the Psychological Research Institute.
In this complex world that we live in, we need all the help we can get to make those right decisions. That's why you, independent thinkers, have made this the #1 show in the greater metropolitan area.
Cavebabble. Hello and welcome to Cavebabble episode 286. This week's episode, The Brain is not a Thanksgiving movie.
It's not. And it's not a Halloween movie
No, it's not either.
It is a
Christmas movie.
Christmas movie.
You know, like of course it is.
And we're not supposed to do Christmas until after Thanksgiving, but it wasn't on purpose.
No, it was not.
It was, but it wasn't.
This episode is brought to you by independent thinking about the dangers of sodium in water.
That's right. Please do not try this at home.
No, do not try this at home. They even warn you in the end credits. Do not do this.
At the end credits, nowadays you'd have to put it right up front at the beginning. Yeah.
No sodium was destroyed in the making of this movie. Oh, so we were...
Wait, who are you?
Oh, hi, everyone. Okay. Hang on a sec. Hello, everyone. This is Eric.
And this is Valerie.
Welcome to our podcast.
Yes, we still live.
We still live. And I was trying to find something that would be a great way to get us back in the saddle and going on shows again, which means I have to torture Valerie with bad 80s movies.
Oh, I know. But at least, every time we talk about bad movies, he actually brings up this movie that he loves.
I do not love that movie.
Barbarella. He has this fascination with Barbarella.
I keep coming across it in my queue.
Why do you keep it in your queue?
Well, why not?
See, because you love it.
I do not love it, but that doesn't mean I hate it, and I have to put all the bad movies in there.
Right, but when we scrolled and you actually stopped at it, I gave a hard no.
I was eating at the time. I even told you that I had stopped just to eat, and if I'm going to sit there and eat for a few minutes, I want to look at Jane Fonda, so...
Yep. Yep, I can understand that. Uh-huh.
Like I'm wont to do.
Exercise guru of the 1980s.
I mean, you have noticed that cutout that I put next to me during dinner, right?
Exactly.
Oh, now that makes sense to you. So anyways,
as we're going through looking at movies to torture Valerie by.
Yeah, we even looked up Thanksgiving movies, and I was like, no, I don't want, oh, that's a Thanksgiving movie. Ooh, no, we don't want to watch that. And then I landed on this, and you said, well, there. I had mentioned it the first time I went through the list, but I went through a second time, and you're like, well, how about The Brain? And I was like, yes. Why? Because I've not seen it before, and you hadn't seen it before, and it's from 1988, so.
Right.
So we had to do it.
We had to.
And boy, am I glad we did.
Well, I didn't fall asleep during it, so that alone means that it was somewhat entertaining.
Valor. The brain. I didn't fall asleep.
I didn't fall asleep during it.
As everyone knows, that's the Cavebabble seal of approval from Valerie.
That's like a sideways thumb, not quite up.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just get into it. Let's do it. We have so much to talk about.
We do. There is.
Right,
it was a very entertaining movie.
I don't think that word means what you think it does.
Barbarella psychedella, there's a kind of cockle shell about you. Barbarella.
What are we talking about? 1988's The Brain.
Your mediocre mind cannot begin to comprehend the importance of my work. I suggest you look into your own neurotic behavior, then perhaps you will understand your continuing negativity. It's apparent you and I will no longer be able to work together.
Fine with me. But wait till I tell people what's really going on around here. Now take that thing and bury it where it belongs.
It's rated R?
Directed by Ed Hunt. Yes, it's rated R.
Interesting. What makes it rated R, I wonder?
Well, we'll get to that part.
Okay.
Because I wasn't sure it was an 80s movie until I saw that part.
Okay, so you'll cover that. Okay.
This is directed by Ed Hunt, who also directed such classics as Starship Invasions.
Ooh.
Crickets.
I was going to say Starship Invasions. Have we seen that?
No.
Okay.
It stars Robert Vaughn and Christopher Lee. 1977.
Did you know that Ed Hunt wanted to be a movie director since the age of 15?
Really? And he never did become one, huh?
Yeah, never did. So in order to achieve his goal, he attended UCLA as a chemistry major.
Of course. That's what you do when you want to make films.
I could see, I would say our grandson has been quite captivated by creating films ever since he could walk and talk. So,
yes, but does he know anything about sodium?
I'm sure he does.
Oh, okay. I'm sure he does.
Yeah. But he was, originally, his formative years was spent in LA, California, but he moved to Canada in the late 1969.
I think he moved back to the U.S. later.
Oh,
too.
did he? Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. I don't know.
His bio doesn't talk about that. Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of...
probably why he did this film, which you probably are going to get to. This is a international film.
Yes, it's an international film in that it was made in Canada. Yeah, it's a Canadian production. So what is this movie about, babe?
Good God.
Before we get to the cast, let me read this directly off of IMDb, just for you. Dr. Blake runs a TV show called Independent Thinkers, the most boring show in the world. That doesn't say that, but I just interjected that part. Which is sort of a Scientology-like self-help/religion program. But he's not making his audience think any more independently. Oh, no. With the help of an alien organism. Is it really an alien organism? I guess it must be because it's a huge brain.
Yeah, they don't ever really flesh that out of where they got this alien organism from.
An alien organism that he calls the brain. He's using brainwashing and mind control. No, say it's not so. The only thing that stands between them and world domination is a brilliant, well, is he really? But troubled, most definitely, high school student with a penchant for pranks. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good description there.
Yeah, that was a very good description.
There's a giant brain living in this lab that has the Dr. Blake, and is trying to mind control everyone. And that's pretty much it.
Dun, dun, dun.
The end. See you later, everybody. Thanks for all the downloads and listens.
Podcast.
I only do that joke every single week. You know that.
That's
right?
true. You do.
And trust me, Eric, it never gets old.
Snort.
Hey, I didn't pull it out this time. You did. Let's go over this cast. That'll take a long time.
Not.
We have Tom Bresnahan. Anyway, Tom B. as Jim M.
Try to say his last name.
Majalewski? However you say his name. Why does he have that last name? I have no idea. Maybe that's director's cousin or uncle or something.
Yeah, I guess they figured it was American.
Yeah. I guess it is. Yeah, that's true. Northern American or Southern Canadian, one of the two, right?
Tom was born October 3rd, 1965 in New York City.
And he's still alive, right?
He's still alive.
In the grand tradition of Valerie telling you if they're alive or dead.
Yes, he's still alive.
He's still alive. He's not a very good actor. Well, he
But I would
wasn't.
say he was probably the strongest actor of this movie.
Eh,
Did you know
no.
he is the great nephew of the Baseball Hall of Famer, New York Giants catcher Roger Bresnahan?
Seriously? Okay,
Yes.
great. Maybe okay.
Tom is also a dual citizen
Is
of
he?
Ireland and the United States.
Ireland.
Yeah, Ireland.
Cool. Well, what about Cynthia Preston?
Who is she?
That was his girlfriend, Janet. I assume it was.
Janet,
Yeah, it was his
Janet,
girlfriend.
Janet.
She's a bad actress too in this movie. They are all pretty much across the board bad, except for the next guy. But
Yeah. I think they listed them on IMDb in the order of, bad, baddest, badder. Yeah.
her claim to fame in this movie is that she is a virgin who is saving herself for college.
We decided I'm not going to do it until I get to college.
Saving herself for college. That's hilarious.
That's what she said.
She's actually older than Tom.
Is she really? Jim always did go for those older women.
Yeah, that's true. Older than Jim, excuse me. So yeah, May 18th, 1968. Now she was born in Toronto, Ontario,
Canada.
Toronto, Canada.
And she's still alive.
Hello.
She has played the lead role in 19 films.
19? Really? No, 19. See, I'm just going to reference old music throughout this whole podcast, and then I will have to drop clips in. So anyway, she was 19 films she's been in, huh?
Yes.
How many did she act in? We have David Gale. Now, he is the most famous person in this movie.
Yes.
As Dr. Anthony Blake.
So enthusiastic.
Played just as he was in Reanimator, just like 3 years earlier, 5, because I think that was 85 was Reanimator.
Which is also an awful movie.
Oh, Reanimator is a classic. It is not an awful movie.
Awful.
You will not speak that way. Spoiler alert, he loses his head in that movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was born.
And unfortunately, he died. Go ahead.
Yep. Born October 2nd, 1936 in Wimbledon, England, and died August 18th, 1991 at only the age of 54.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, he was my age when he died.
Yeah. Died of complications from open heart surgery.
Hold on a sec. If he was 54 when he died, then when was that? 91, you said?
Uh-huh.
And this was 88. So, man, he looked older than he was, babe.
Yeah, he definitely looked older than 54.
Yeah, he did. Oh, I say that as I'm 54 and I don't want to. Okay, does everybody see me as looking that old?
There, you got your answer.
Your correct answer, babe, was absolutely not. I love you and you look as young as when I married you.
As young as the day you were born. Okay, wait.
I tell you what, my Valerie impression is dead on. Dead on. Oh, I sound something like this.
Yes.
Oh, see? Okay, let's go over sidekicks because we were just blowing through this cast. There's only like 3 or 4 more.
Yeah.
George Buza, B-U-Z-A, Buza, probably Buza, played Verna. Hey, is that David Harbour's dad?
It sure looks like, he was in X-Men.
His voice was X-Men. He was the voice of Beast, I think. Is that what it said in there?
And he married Hope.
Of course he did. It springs eternal,
He was born January 7th, 1949.
Oh.
And so still alive.
Still alive, thank you.
Still alive.
Oh.
But yeah, he does look like Hopper from Stranger Things.
Harbour playing Hopper. That's right,
Yeah.
His name was Hopper, isn't it? I thought you made a mistake on his last name, but you were actually calling his character name, which was... Way to go, babe.
Yeah, Hopper from Stranger Things.
Wow. Look at you. Look at the brain on Valerie.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, he does kind of have a David Harbour's drunk uncle look or something like that. I don't know.
Very
There's
much so.
There's like a family resemblance there, even though they're not family.
So. Could be brother. But yeah, very much looks very similar.
Now we're going to get to the part where the movie earned its R rating. Christine Cossack, or however you say her name, played Vivian.
Oh, now I understand why it got the R.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was eaten by the brain at one point.
Yeah, that's why it was R.
And she was naked from the waist up at one point because all 80s movies have women naked from the waist up. Every single one. Look it up.
Every single one.
Go ahead. I can prove it. Go look at any 80s movie. It doesn't matter.
And
Doesn't
it
matter
has
which one.
bared breasts.
E.T. You don't remember that scene, do you, when his mom got naked?
No.
You don't remember that? It was as she was getting ready for Halloween. She's totally naked from the waist up. It's crazy. G-rated films.
Boobs. Even Rocky was naked to the waist in the 80s.
The 80s was a time, man.
Freedom, burning bras. Oh, wait, no, that wasn't the 80s.
Hey, when was Christine born?
They don't have hers being born. She just exists.
God, she hatched.
Yep, she just exists. Uh-huh.
Oh, she's still alive too, I think.
Yeah, well, let's see. They don't have a soon dead gonna bite it date on her.
Okay,
correct.
we'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Pearson plays Willie. No, free Willie. No.
And he was freed.
He was freed from his life. I just have a note that says, "Nice hair, dude." He had quite the hair.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He had a lot of it.
For a bit part, he just did a lot of posing.
He did not much of anything in this movie, as did Susanna Hoffman, who played Becky, who was friend, I guess, of Janet and Willie and Jim.
And girlfriend of Willie.
Yeah, I think, that's true. Girlfriend of Willie, because they were, that's right. Were they making out? Were they ones that were making out in the...
Yeah.
Oh.
She was the one that said, yeah, well, Willie knows what to do, and yeah.
Oh, unlike Janet saving herself for college, she wasn't saving herself. Becky wasn't saving herself.
Yeah, now she originally, so she's from Montreal, born March 20th, 1963.
Mm-hmm.
She actually trained as a dancer with the Le Grand Ballet, but at the age of 16, she decided that dancing wasn't her career. Well, honey... You probably should have stayed in dancing.
Oh, that was my wife who said that. I didn't say that. That was her, Susanna.
Yeah, like I said, they're listing the cast from bad to baddest.
I think you were just great, Susanna, even though I cannot even remember what you look like even a little bit in this movie. That's okay. Don't worry about it. I do remember there was a friend, but I don't remember what she looks like. Was she blonde?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of sort of remember her then.
She had long blonde hair.
The last... Now I got to put that in here too. Like no
young
one else.
That was the 80s, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right about this time. Harry Booker played Officer Marks, and that's the only officer I'm going to mention. Was he the one that killed the plant? Was that him that killed the plant, or was that another cop?
He was the one that got his head chopped off.
Oh, that's right. He couldn't have shot at them because he'd already lost his head by that time. And it was chopped off by the world's tiniest axe that was wielded by David Harbour's dad.
In one swipe. So that was either a sharp axe or Nurse Varna was very strong.
And what was the heck in that scene? Or what the heck was wrong in that scene without showing any blood? He chopped his head off, but there was no blood.
Nope, no blood.
As a matter of fact, he hit him in the chest first, and that was no blood. And then he chopped his head off. No, he hit him in the back.
Hit him in the back and then chopped the head off. Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Oh, that's true. We are.
Before we start getting into the notes on this movie and chatting about it, we have to admit something, and that is something.
We do?
It's not like it's some admission. I should mention
you're going to have a confession.
Yes, I am. I'm going to confess. Everyone, let's see, how long has it been since my last confession? It's been a little while.
Like years. Yeah.
Good Lord. I don't even remember my last confession, so strap in, everybody. This may take a while. I am on IMDb and Wiki. There is next to no trivia on this movie. As a matter of fact, the Wiki listing is so short. It's the synopsis, stars, and that's it. And IMDb hardly has any more than that. Are you seeing what they have?
Exactly. Not much. So we're going to be creating trivia for you.
That's right. I am just going to make crap up, everybody, and I'm going to put it in here when I feel like I need to. and we'll see if you like the trivia. I shouldn't say that. I should say I have done my research, and I will give you trivia on this because that's the kind of host that I am. Co-host.
That is. I mean, that is why.
I give and I
Right.
give. I don't
You
know why
just-
you can't recognize it. I give and I give,
I
babe.
give and I give.
I give
more.
and I give some more until I can't gives anymore. I have to admit, I did do some research. I got up at like 3 this morning for whatever reason, couldn't go back to sleep. So I just came down here and started researching crap for this movie. And boy, did I go down I'll kind of cover it as I go along. But man, I went down a rabbit hole.
Now, I remember you said that both of us, this was a first time watching this film for
Yep.
both of us,
Yep.
which surprises me because you are a Mystery Science Theater lover.
Yeah.
And this was featured in 2018 in their live traveling tour.
So that would be Riff Tracks, the Riff Tracks at this point.
Okay, was
It's
what
the
it
same
was.
guys, though. Same guys.
Yeah, so I'm surprised that you didn't see it at least through there.
Yeah, I've not seen all of their, I call it newer stuff. That was quite a while ago at this point, but yeah, I don't know what they have to say. They're probably more creative than we will be.
This movie is part of the notorious German, what they call Schliffaz series.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, Schliffaz. It means the worst films ever
Oh,
genre.
now why would they be mean like that and say that about this fine film?
Yeah, why would they?
All right, let's get into it. First of all,
Okay.
this is filmed in the Toronto area in Mississauga, which is just right outside of Toronto. Most of the stuff is filmed there because I looked it up and I found locations on a map. From the end credits, the Psychological Research Institute, or the PRI, is listed as grounds property of Xerox Canada Incorporated. So I found it, of course. It's the Xerox Research Center of Canada in Mississauga.
So if anything, I mean, they did film the outside of that building because it's a very unique style.
Yeah, it is. I wonder where they got that style. It looks like it looks like kind of like someone did a futuristic submarine or like a 60s version of a future submarine and stuck it on land.
Yeah, submarine, UFO. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. They're the same thing. You can't tell the
Yeah.
difference between a UFO and a submarine.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're both the same. I mean, because
No.
some UFOs
No
actually
one can. No one is
are
able to tell the difference.
on the floor of the ocean because that's where they hide for years, right?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
When the reptilians allow it. So yeah, it's a real building, of course. The first shot of it, I said, oh, is this a model? Because it had such a funky look, but then it was obvious that it wasn't. And yeah, very interesting building. Look it up.
Yeah.
You can use Google too, not just me. It's not limited to me. You can use Google.
Google and validate what we say.
That's right. But the building interiors, they were distracting to me because they didn't use ceiling lights in most of the scenes, especially the ones in walkways and stairs and ramps and things like that. They didn't turn on any of the ceiling lights, which makes me think that maybe they weren't working wherever they were filming.
Yeah, that maybe there was no electricity to the
Yeah.
building, that they had to bring in maybe portable generators. And,
They daisy chained together fluorescent tube lights on the floor against the walls. It's obvious that there are, just power running between these things going up the ramps and stuff. And they put all their lights on the floor. And I thought, well, now was that to give everybody like that villain look, or did they just not have power?
and
It's
if they
hard
did
to-
not have power, maybe they didn't have permission to affix the lights to the walls.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. It was
Do
a
no
weird
harm.
It was a weird choice anyway. And in that same area at the bottom of that one ramp was that door that the guy goes through at one point, and the handle of the door was either bashed or taken out of the door. It had no handle on it. He just grabbed the hole and and opened the door.
Open it by the.
So it made us wonder if they were in a part of some place that was abandoned, or who knows.
I'm sure you tried to Google it and didn't find any information on that, huh?
No, not much on that. I did go to, let's see, a place I finally found a write-up of this movie on the horror section. It's a blog called The Horror Section from 2016, and he talks about loving this movie because it was filmed in, I guess, where he lives.
Oh,
And he talks about some of the buildings and all of that. Of course, I found that after I had researched a bunch of stuff myself. I could have just gone to his blog and found it all. So there you go. That
directly
sounds
from a
about
source
right.
who lives there. Yeah.
That's right.
Lived.
But he talked about various areas that interiors were filmed, but I don't know which one is the one that we are talking about. So I don't know. Doesn't matter. Hey, what'd you think of the music in this movie, babe? Wasn't it fantastic?
Well, it was interesting. What a little bit of what that is one of the trivias is
Oh, it is.
film's trailer. This film's trailer reuses music from the trailer The Warriors,
Oh, the
1979 film.
Warriors came out to play from that movie.
I guess so.
Really?
I don't know that. 1979.
The music is by Paul Zaza, Z-A-Z-A, Zaza, and it's not very good.
No.
But it's very 80s. I mean, if you've seen other 80s synthy stuff, you've heard it, I should say, from other 80s movies. That's what it is. Exactly that.
Just
lots of harsh
more
electronic
of it,
sounds.
Wait a minute, Eric. That sounds a lot like the music that you like to compose.
Fingernail on the chalkboard sounds.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, music in general in 80s movies, especially songs that they use that are generic pop songs because they don't have rights to any real stuff, they're always so bad. I don't know who does all those. Someone in Southern California, I'm sure, some garage bandy type folks. And they're always so bad.
Yeah.
This one has a real bad one. It's like a DJ on the car radio as Jim. I guess it's Jim driving around. And this DJ is talking, and then it goes into this fake-o synth poppy 80s stuff. And
yeah.
Oh my God, it was horrible. Here, I'll put a little of that right here.
Now back to a bit of that hard rock you do praise teeny boppers love so much.
See what we mean?
Oh, see? And it's like I'm trying to say, the 80s were a fun time for me. And I'm thinking, I don't remember music from the 80s being that horrible. I mean, that's when you have Journey and the Eagles and the Fine Young Cannibals and all that good stuff. Barry Manilow.
U2 and In Excess and
all the classics.
Yeah.
Duran Duran, Depeche Mode, Dead or Alive. That guy spun round like a record, didn't he?
Yeah, all of that stuff.
That's what you have.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood and Fine Young Cannibals.
See, exactly.
There, shall we keep naming 80s bands?
80s bands.
Okay. One thing that we were both struck by in this film was how quiet everyone speaks in it and how dull everyone speaks in this movie.
They have their delivery. They have like no emotion. It's just like they're reading the script during their scenes. That's it.
They have entire scenes where they talk to each other just kind of like this
through
the whole scene. And it's not so much as if they're reading, but they just have, it's like they're high or something. Everybody's high.
Or so sleepy they don't have any energy to put forth.
And maybe they were told by the director to play it that way. Okay, it's like you're half mind controlled. It's taking its toll, so no one show any emotion.
That's probably exactly right.
Dr. Blake in particular, he has a television show, and that's what I was playing off of and brought to you by it's called Independent Thinking, and he's shown on this show talking to the people out there several times during this movie. I don't know how many times a week his show is, but it seems like it's on all the time.
Yeah, it seems like 24/7.
But he has such a horrible television presence that how would anyone ever watch that show? It's the most boring thing in the world.
So enthusiastic.
Well, I guess if you're trying to hypnotize people, that you would, wouldn't you?
But at that point, was he trying? He wasn't even attempting to at that point, I don't think. At least not at the very beginning. Well, maybe he was. I don't know. What was his motivation? I must know.
put them all to sleep so he could brainwash them.
Anyway, there's just one after another of these boring scenes of them talking kind of just like this to one another. Actually, not that loud.
Yeah, it's a good thing we watched movies with the subtitles on now.
Which was freaking hilarious at sometimes, because later on it's like, what was it? It was like, what were some of the cues? It was squishy munching. Yeah, squishy thudding. Yeah, it was squishy munching and squishy thudding later on with the brain. And it was like, yes, that's now my second favorite thing ever.
Breathing.
Yeah, right, exactly. Oh, Meadowvale High School in this movie. It's not a high school at all. It's a secondary school. And I found that too. I looked at it on Google Maps, and that is the Meadowvale Secondary School in Mississauga. I guess that's how you say it. It looks like Mississippi, but with Aga at the end. And that's at 6700 Edenwood Drive in Mississauga.
It showed the address as they were running from the building at one point.
They did. It's right on the building, and it's still on the building to this day, even though the outside looks a little different. Yeah.
And it's interesting because, this was a second day. So this is middle school?
I don't know. I'm not Canadian. I don't know what Canadians call secondary school. Now the computer has to put that in here.
In Canada, secondary education is generally for kids 12 to 18 years old. This group usually includes grades 7 to 12.
It had a very high schoolish, like, metal shop and auto shop.
Yeah.
And that's usually stuff you find, like, in career centers that, for the classes that they have to teach a trade, and that's usually available in high school.
Janet was in the library at one point, and they were very much showing the books over her shoulder, which was the Winds of War series by, Herman Wouk, however you say his name, which would have been popular at the time, but that they wouldn't have that in like a junior high. I don't know. All our Canadian listeners are yelling at us right now, so
please, email us or send us a message. Let us know, what that. We're always for being educated.
No,
educated.
You don't have to. The computer's going to do.
Oh,
put
that's
that
right.
in
The
here.
computer's going to.
She knows everything.
She does.
Literally everything. Literally. Oh, clearly, this movie was inspired by Nightmare on Elm Street, right? You have that whole scene near the beginning where the daughter is in her room, and all these tentacles are coming through the windows. The walls are closing in. Her teddy bear's bleeding from the eyes.
Yeah, very nightmarish.
Yeah, very much like Nightmare on Elm Street. The weird stuff. As a matter of fact, I said, oh, she's dreaming. She's going to wake up. No, she was hallucinating. And when her mom came in to help her, she thought her mom was wrapped up in tentacles. So, of course, she stabs her with scissors.
Oh, spoiler.
And then the girl gets pulled out the window. You guys don't need to watch this movie. It's okay.
Spoiler. Yeah, but they probably should, because it is entertaining. If you're looking, wanting to watch something while you're you probably enjoy it more after a couple drinks.
Okay. Yes, very much so.
Not that we promote any alcohol.
Yes, we do.
consumption.
I mean, no, we don't. We
No,
don't.
but
We don't.
It's your choice. Yeah.
Whiskey.
Nah. Yeah.
Break it out. One thing you will learn from this movie is do not put pure sodium in water.
Right.
Especially if you're going to flush it down a toilet.
Yeah.
Because apparently that results in not only the toilet exploding, but the drinking fountains out in the hallway spraying water all over you. So
Yeah, because obviously it raised havoc with the entire building's plumbings. So.
yeah, like it does.
Yeah.
You know how they know that? Because of the director's background in college.
Right. That's why he became a chemistry.
Yeah.
Started out as a chemistry major, so he could use that type of stuff realistically in his films.
That's right. He said, I've got to find something that reacts with water. What should we use? And then he went to college and he found out. Let's see here. Jim's car. The first time I saw it, I said, run, it's Christine.
Right.
It's really not Christine. It's not the same vehicle, but that's what it reminded me of.
Uh-huh.
And a little bit later on, the brain is going to take over his car. I'm not sure how that happens.
Correct. Right. Well, I guess it's hallucination. So the brain, but...
Was it?
Yeah.
Is that what it was? He was making Jim hallucinate that he was trying to stop it when actually Jim was making it go?
Oh, Oh, that's my understanding.
It's not what we were seeing. The
That's
car
not
was
what we were
taking
yeah.
off down the road on its own and trying to run him into the front of that truck, but
Right.
no. So now I'm confused. What was the brain trying to do, and how was it doing it?
Yeah.
From halfway, I guess it was through the radio that it was doing that.
I think that he, affected. I think he, the brain, that short period of time where Jim was exposed to the brain's, the brain's transmissions. I think that's all hallucinations.
Jim was.
He thought he was pushing on the brake. He saw
Yeah.
himself pushing on the brake, but he was really pushing on the gas.
Man, I'd go through that every single time we're on a trip. It's the worst. It is the worst trying to fight back the urge to just go off the road,
I know.
I mean, I've never felt that way. Don't worry. You're in safe hands when you ride with me, babe. Don't worry about it.
Safe hands with Allstate, yeah.
Jim was in that sort of condition because he had been brought to the institute because he was a bad boy in school.
Yeah.
And when you're a bad boy in school, they send you to the loony ward.
Yeah, either get suspended or you get sent to counseling.
Because that's how all those places are treated in 80s movies. Everybody is your stereotypical, I'm insane type of person, which is completely unrealistic. But hey, it's an 80s horror movie. What do you expect?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So he is taken to this place and he's subjected to brain waves. There's a machine that he is hooked up to, and it has a big sign that someone jammed onto it that in all caps said brain waves received. It's one of those, just a classic sign. It's not a display, it's a sign that's shoved onto it.
Right. I mean, they used high-powered graphics on this.
Which started a game that I played for the rest of the movie, and you did too, which is spot the signs that they have everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they have all kinds of them, including two that say boiler room. You have to say it like that because they're in all caps and really big. You have to say boiler room is what they said. And one
sodium in use. This room must remain dry. And
caution,
it's
sodium in use.
And I thought for sure they were going to explode that room, but they didn't.
Talk about Chekhov's gun, right? It was Chekhov's sodium. I saw it, and I mentioned it's like, oh yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a Chekhov's chainsaw a little while later, and that one was used. So
I was kind of disappointed that they didn't do that. I thought for sure that would be the end of the movie where they flooded that room and exploded the. So I was very disappointed.
What if in the original script it had all of this cool special effects and everything? They were going to blow up half that building, and then they said, "Oh, we don't have any money for that."
Yeah, they ran out of money because they spent it all on the brain's animation.
Can we at least blow up the brain? It's like only when we're totally done filming with it. Because we're not making another one of those,
Yeah, we got to use this to death.
That thing was huge, and it had the brainstem still hanging from it, too. It was pretty cool. Spinal cord, I'm sorry. Spinal column.
They kept calling the tail, but it was a spinal cord.
Yeah, I said, oh, his tail's... Yeah, David Harbour's dad at one point said, oh, his tail's growing. It's not a tail, it's a spinal column. You idiot. In that scene, by the way, I was wondering how the brain was going to eat that mouse. And then immediately saw the answer when it ate the assistant. That was great.
Yeah, I didn't want the mouse.
And she was naked in a scene, by the way, because Jim was hallucinating.
Yes.
And of course, when you hallucinate around a hot woman, they just become naked. So.
Yeah, when teen boys hallucinate, right teens, right boys?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I've never been a teen boy.
It's always naked women.
I don't know anything about that. I was never a teen boy, and I never thought of anyone as being naked. Ever in my entire life.
Ever.
You can't see my nose growing. You don't know if I'm lying or not. So, by the way, in that scene, note to anybody who is going to be a whistleblower in any movie, never, ever, ever tell the bad guy that what you are going to do to snitch on them.
Right.
Go do it first before you tell them about it, because that just makes them kill you. So please don't do that anymore.
Yeah, don't warn them. Don't tell them you're going to whistleblow. Do it. And then you'll get killed afterwards, but still, at least you've done it.
And when she's killed, you get this classic line.
That's food for thought.
Yeah.
Ba-dum-chum.
This is probably the second most angry brain that I've ever seen, babe.
Oh, second most.
It is quite angry. As a matter of fact, it roars like this. Do you like that sound? That's a nice sound.
Well, also, too, this brain is the only brain I think I have ever seen that has eyes and teeth and has a face and growls.
And is about 2 feet across.
Yeah.
It's the only one I know, too, I have to say.
Yeah, so it's interesting that it's called the brain because it's very much more than a brain.
Yeah, right. It is much more than a brain. It's an entire creature.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well.
With sharp, pointy teeth.
Parts of this movie don't make sense. So anyway, that's why Jim was, I guess, hallucinating or whatever was happening with Jim's car, Christine.
Jim kept doing just such irritating things, so he's trying to sneak. He's trying to sneak and he's peeking, but he doesn't just open the door, crack and peek. He opens it,
Oh, yeah, about a foot wide.
Yeah, and he's so of course he's going to be seen, and he does that several times through this movie, and it's like, oh, come on, a high school guy would not be that dumb, would they?
I just like how the brain in that scene is almost looking directly at the door as he's sitting there, clandestinely with it wide open.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the scene, the brain moves about 2 inches and is like, oh, there he is.
Exactly. And just like when he's peeking through the door, staring at his mom, and she's staring at him, it's like at first they're... How
did she not see him?
Of course she's... And then it takes several, minutes. Oh, it's my son, the murderer. It's like...
Oh. So Jim avoids the truck on the road, but then he ends up flipping the car. That wasn't nice, was it?
No, and I kept expecting it to, immediately burst into flames like
it had
explode, but it took a little time, which was more realistic. So,
and unless it was a camera trick, that actor that played Jim, he was pretty darn close to that car when they set that explosion off.
Yeah, he was.
He seemed to be okay, but he was fairly close to that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by the way, I have trivia on that car.
Yes.
By the way, did you know that Sam Raimi let the Brain production crew borrow his other car for Jim to drive?
No.
But he was surprised and pissed off when they flipped it and exploded it, though. So now that joke will be really funny to those who know Sam Raimi and his other films, because in the Evil Dead series he used his car in it.
So you've got,
and it was an old crappy car like this one.
So that's some in-speaking, some inside joke.
You know what you should never do?
Those in the know.
You know what you should never do with an inside joke?
Tell it.
Explain it.
Oh, if you got to explain it, then it's too inside.
Yeah, I really didn't have to explain it. Half the listeners just went, "Oh God, Eric, that was the funniest thing that I've ever heard." But funniest.
Your co-host had nothing and knew nothing about it. Yeah,
that's okay. The tentacle budget cut deeply into our joke budget, so sorry. And into the acting lessons budget, by the way. They go to this place called Jay's Pit. Well, Jay's Pit is next to Jay's Dairy Freeze. But anyway, on a sign just in back of that building was Jay's Pit. You do not ever want to name any business that you have Jay's Pit.
Well, it just depends on what it is, but I wouldn't think you'd want an eating establishment, a restaurant, to be called Jay's Pit.
But that was on the sign in the back, the next building over, next to it anyway. But on the building itself, man, there was a lot of wordage on that thing. It was like Jay's Dairy Freeze, submarines, and various things all over that sign.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jay's, that's where the kids work, and they all wear bandanas around their necks.
Mm-hmm. Keep instead of hairnets, they wear bandanas.
And Jim does a freakout scene in there. It's great. He's up on the countertop, and he's stepping in in all the drinks, and that's one of the most exciting scenes, which was really bad. So that tells you something about this movie.
That they spent a lot of time. Okay, Jim, just go crazy, and he does.
And that's where he's captured again. And the cops, they take him back. They take him back to the Institute, babe.
Yeah, and I always love how they give him, the shoot him with
drugs.
Clear fluid number 9 through his sweater. Yeah.
Didn't that look like a fake arm too? Because they were just moving it all over the place.
Yeah.
It was.
What are you giving him?
What are you giving him? Yeah, that was part of the acting. That was the lessons that they couldn't afford because of the tentacle budget. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, they take him back and they throw him into a padded, quote unquote, room, right?
Right, but they couldn't afford the padding.
They had no padding, so they just painted the cement walls white. And they have open, electrical outlets right near him and everything. It's really a crappy room for someone that you might think is suicidal.
Yeah.
But then he's saved by the true crazy guy. And I call him that because I'm sure that's what he's probably credited as that in the credits.
Yeah.
He comes in with a knife. He opens the door with the knife. And then the kid, Jim, leaves that guy in there with a knife. What happened to that guy?
Well, we know what we think happened.
We think he just immediately killed himself.
Right.
Right?
Because he was in that room and knew that nobody would come looking for him.
Right. He said, I'll be in here. Like, why would that fool anyone?
Right.
If they looked in there and it obviously wasn't Jim.
I'll be in here so that you can escape and they won't know.
Because all they know are the numbers of people in the building. They don't know who is who and they won't look. So don't worry about it. When they start firing guns, which David Harbour's dad, I'm going to keep calling him that. David Harbour's dad is firing guns and the cop/security guy is firing guns. And then for some reason, I swear in that chase scene, the music cue has gunshot sounds on it too.
It sure sounded like it.
And it sounds like this. See, those are guns, aren't they?
Sounded like it.
And that's right about then when we saw Chekhov's sodium sign, which we know it's going to come up later, but not in the way that we like.
Yeah, right. Not in the way that was expected.
Oh, and that's right when they kill Willie, too. Willie bites it right then. But they don't rip his head off.
Well, they don't show it, yeah.
I was really hoping...
No, he was being ingested, yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping that the brain would eat his head, but it didn't.
Just
I
like
kept
Vivian
saying,
got
no,
ingested. Yeah.
we've got to free Willie. Oh, no, poor Willie.
Poor Willie. Lived to die.
Oh... I did find the main problem is, there's your problem, your brain is breathing. Your brain's not supposed to breathe.
Oh.
Especially if it sounds like this. See, I have to set up the clips, babe. I have to set them up. One of the quotes that you liked, because you started laughing, you were like, oh, that's great, was if he wants you here, he's going to have to come to me, or whatever he says. I can't remember what he said. He'll have to see me.
If she wants you, he needs to see me.
Be assertive. Tell him if he wants you, he must watch me.
And I want you in my boring voice. I think that's how he gets women. He bores them to death and puts them to sleep.
Did you know that Ed Hunt wanted Janet to have a scene where she'd be laying on the floor naked, after she finally gave in and decided to give herself to Jim before college.
Oh, we're going to talk about that, but go ahead.
She refused. Yeah, she refused to go naked.
There was no naked scene, so they had to have the poor other woman do it.
Yeah.
Well, this director, I think, directed at least one softcore porn before he did this one, so there you go. That's why he has them in there. Actually, he has naked women in there because all 80s movies, like I said, have a naked woman.
Naked women's, right.
Waist up.
Right,
there you go. It's in everyone's contract. It's just right there. It's the first thing on the contract, actually.
It is.
So,
you must bare your breasts.
I have to. Okay, and here's my note for that sex scene. The best time to have virgin sex is while being hunted by giant brains and henchmen.
See, exactly. Knowing that you're going to die at any time, so why not?
Nothing gets virgins hot and bothered more than that. Why in the world did she want to have because they were going to die, maybe?
That's what I was thinking. It's like if they're going to die, she didn't want to die a virgin.
I mean, I know why she did. The script said so, but Oh, and the music that played there? Sex music. Ow! Babe, did you know that both of these actors, both Jim and Janet, the actors that played them, they have confirmed that they were not virgins when filming that scene.
They have confirmed.
They confirmed it, and they have signed affidavits to prove it. So there you go.
Funny.
So that's your trivia for that part. They were not virgins, and they can prove it.
Well, she was older than him. I mean, by not quite a year, but...
Good Lord, she held out for just one more year. She held out. But no, the magic of Jim, that was all it took. That poor poinsettia, babe.
Oh, I know.
The cop shot it. He was trying to shoot Jim, and he shot that plant instead. And I felt bad about that poor plant for the rest of the movie.
Percy, the puny poinsettia.
Yeah, and...
sitting alone on the shelf.
Oh, that is such a terrible song.
Percy, the puny poinsettia, hanging his bloom in dismay. If they had just kept him wetter, he'd be a houseplant today.
When you sing Grandma Got Ran Over by a Reindeer...
Followed by Percy the puny poinsettia.
You make 5 other songs that sound exactly like that and just change the characters. That's exactly what you do.
That is what you do.
Right about this time is when we have this going on for 2 minutes and 20 seconds. They pull the alarm.
Yeah, he goes through one of those exit doors that when you go through, it sets off the alarm.
Oh, is that what happened?
Does it? Yes.
Oh, okay. And then that set off the alarm in the building for, like I said, I counted it, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And it is so loud in the mix that you can hardly pay attention to anything that's going on in those scenes. It was terrible.
Yeah.
I hated it.
It was very distracting.
And then that set off another long, boring car chase scene where a cop can't possibly catch up with a car that was missing a hood that was in, I guess that was that the high school? That must have been the high school still then?
Uh-huh, yeah, like I said, it was in the high school auto shop area.
In the auto shop, and Jim takes it out, and it's a 1978 Dodge Omni, which he then drives off or sends off a cliff at the end of this scene. But I mention that because I spent far too much time attempting to find out what kind of model that was, what car was.
Did you?
Because when I saw it in the movie, I thought it was a Festiva. And then I thought, as I was researching, that maybe it was a Fiesta. Then I thought maybe it was a Renault 5, but none of them fit because the grille wasn't right and the logo wasn't right. Finally, after probably, 10 minutes longer than forever, I just Googled hatchback in the brain movie. And the first result was from IMCDB, the Internet Movie Car Database.
Because that's a thing that exists.
And I found it. 1978 Dodge Omni, and they sent it off a cliff. And it was probably the most exciting scene in the whole movie.
It was pretty good, though. They showed the footage of it plummeting.
Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm. No explosion, though.
Which tells you that that's exactly what would happen if you sent a car over a cliff. All it would do is hit the ground and go thud and lay there. And that's all that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
The door, quote unquote, to the boiler room, the exterior door, cracked me up because it was like half the height of the interior doors.
Yeah, exactly.
It barely came above their waistline. And it was obvious that it just went in underneath a stairwell or something in there. The exterior of the building made it obvious that it went nowhere, and they just walked into it. Oh, by the way, did you know that by Canadian law, all exterior boiler room doors must be half the height of interior ones?
Oh, I didn't
by
know
law.
that.
It's the law in Canada.
Interesting.
I had no idea. Here I thought it was just a goof, but no, apparently that's the law.
Interesting.
I know. Isn't the trivia great on this movie?
Yeah. Wonder why. Did it say why?
Oh, no, like most IMDb trivia, that's just it's just there for us to interpret as we wish. And that was totally off of IMDb. You know it was. Now nearing the end of the movie, the doctor is having a broadcast where the brain is going to send its waves to, I guess, the rest of the country, right? Because they said millions were going to get this.
Millions.
Can you imagine millions of people watching that boring show? It'd be the worst thing ever. I would like to be brainwashed just so that I didn't have to think about it. It's just a terrible show. Anyway, so the doctor's in the middle of his spiel. Oh, and that's right. And Jim is being blamed for murders, right? Everyone thinks Jim's a murderer because they've been brainwashed.
To believe so. Mm-hmm.
They even have a newspaper article about it, that the newspaper that is out on the racks like the same night that everything is happening.
Right.
How did that happen? That is one intrepid reporter and a printing press that is going 24 hours a day right there.
Right. Yeah. They're good.
So anyway, Jim comes in and confronts the doctor on the air and knocks his head off, and he just has goo inside of him, like this green goo.
Like slime. Like green slime. Mm-hmm.
What was the doctor? Was he just an automaton that was run by the brain? What was that? They didn't say anything about it.
No, they didn't. Just like, yeah. Well, other than, I can't remember who said it, but earlier in the film, maybe it was Vivian, that warned Jim that the doctor was not human.
Oh, did she? She said that? Oh, I don't remember that. All I know is he loses his head just like he does in Reanimator. And it's almost just like the scene with his head down on the ground, except his head isn't alive like in Reanimator.
Yeah, that's one. It just oozes.
Yep. And so then Jim explains to the country, I guess, that he's not our murderer. It was them all along. It was the brain. It was the doctor all along.
Watch the TV because now I'll tell you the truth. Because if you watch the TV, it's the truth, right?
That's right. If you watch right. He wouldn't be on TV otherwise.
If it wasn't the truth.
Right. That's what Mom said about the doctor earlier.
Right.
Jim, Dr. Blake wouldn't be on TV if he wasn't good.
Yeah, it's got to be good. He's on TV.
Right, watch TV.
That's right.
It's only the truth.
So then we get a final scene of Jim at dinner, or at breakfast, I should say, at breakfast with his family, and his mom's like, oh, you got your acceptance letter from Princeton. And then he's like, well, if I go there, everybody wants me to go to their college. I may not even go there.
And stand in line.
Yeah. Did you know that Princeton University is in New Jersey, and by law, you cannot attend there if you have ever starred in a low-budget Canadian horror film? They don't allow it. So Jim could never go to Princeton anyway. They won't allow him in.
Anyways, even if he's the smartest guy in the world.
Some of the things in this movie just don't make sense. Doesn't make sense. So then he goes and gets in the car with his girlfriend, and they drive off, and we're treated to a shot. As the car leaves the neighborhood, we're treated to a shot of garbage bags.
Yeah, it must be trash day.
Yeah, it must be trash day. They don't have cans. They just have bags that are out at the...
bags of trash, yeah.
And
it was the 80s.
And they hold that shot for far too long. And then that's the end of the movie. Oh, but wait, the brain comes flying up to the screen and growls at you, and then it's over.
It's like The Brain Part 2. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then the credits at the very beginning. Warning, the bathroom scene is a dramatic representation. Combining sodium and water may cause serious injury. Do not attempt it, with 3 exclamation marks, just in case you didn't take it seriously. And that was the end of the movie.
Yeah. And so hence, as you can tell by our synopsis of this movie, did anywhere in it, did you get the feeling that this was a Christmas movie?
No, we definitely thought it was a Thanksgiving movie. Yeah, I didn't mention that.
Because the only reason why it supposedly takes place timeline at Christmas time, because you see Christmas decorations, but there really was no reason to even have those. Why they even felt the need to have Christmas decorations, because it was not part of the plot of the movie at all.
Were there other decorations other than the house at the beginning? Did you notice other ones?
Yeah, I mean, as they were running through the neighborhood, that the principal's the house had Christmas lights on the bushes out front. So there were, like you said, the poinsettia in the library. There were various decorations.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the poinsettia is in the library. Yeah,
But
that's
other
right.
than
Oh,
the
the poor plant.
sets, the set decorations, there was no need for it.
Like the couple's house that they ran through their yard, the dude that died because his wife was being brainwashed, and she came out and killed him with his own chainsaw. By the way, Chekhov's chainsaw, they showed it first, and then she killed him with it.
Yeah.
Did they have decorations? I can't remember.
They were the ones that had the decorations in their bushes.
Oh, in the bushes. Okay.
As they were sneaking around the house. And if you look closely at the chainsaw, when she, you can see that the chain, it's not moving.
Oh, okay. I know it sounded like a hedge trimmer. That's all I could.
Yeah, a hedge trimmer, not a chainsaw.
Yeah, it sounded like a hedge trimmer, but yeah, she killed him though. It worked. She sawed him in half with no blood, by the way.
With no blood. Yeah, no blood.
Yeah, it was pretty funny because that shot of her taking the chainsaw away and his body was sawed in half. The angle of the upper part of his body, which was the real dude, and then the fake part of the bottom of his body, where they were two different angles. So it was like he was, not only did she cut him in half, she like smashed him halfway into the ground. It was pretty cool.
And then as she runs into the house to tell the officers that Jim killed my husband.
Everybody kept saying that. Jim's killed everybody.
She cut off his head. And it's like... What?
No, he didn't.
He didn't do any damage to your husband's head.
I mean, it does look like he thinks with his penis, so maybe she was thinking of that.
Yeah,
maybe she cut his head.
Yeah, the other. Yeah, brain. Yeah.
Oh, this movie's not good, but it was fun to watch.
It was.
It was.
It was entertaining. It was exactly what you were looking for.
I think that if it really is what I was looking for, except that if the dialogue wasn't all offered so boringly, if they weren't so just dull in all of the scenes, it would have been a lot better. If they were trying to act and it was all over the top in a, funny,
campy,
but campy, but not trying to be campy. That would have been hilarious. But there was just scene after scene where they're talking. I'm like, oh, either speak up or show any kind of emotion at all, please.
But I think you were dead on with saying that they were probably told to act that way because they were all supposed to be in a kind of a hypnotic state.
Yeah, you just kind of get that feeling that in the background, the director was saying that on every scene. Now remember, all supposed to be brainwashed, half brainwashed. So
yeah, that's made the most sense when you said that. I said, oh yeah, that's right. It's probably exactly right.
So it's a movie about a brain that kills people. So if that's not your kind of thing, don't watch it. Even if it does have boobs in it, don't watch this movie. No, actually, it's fine, and it does have I guess a small cult following. Like every movie has, by the way. Every movie has someone who really likes it, even if they're terrible.
Rotten Tomatoes says it's low on budget, but high on ambition.
High on ambition, huh? Oh, yeah, I like that because Prime said this was a cerebral movie. It's keywords. One of it was cerebral.
Cerebral and dreamlike.
Okay, cerebral in that it is about a brain.
Yeah, and dreamlike because they
hallucinate.
But it gets an overall audience score of 2. And so I would have to agree with that.
I think its IMDb is 5.9 or 5.3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, that's about right. But it was great to get back in with this kind of movie because this is what, we used to do this kind of thing all the time. I'm sorry, by the way.
Yeah, IMDb says, the film's low-budget horror movie that has poor filming, poor storyline that drags on, and poor acting.
Yeah, it does. But
it was entertaining.
And it's fun to spot the signs and the various things like that in it. That part's kind of fun.
The only way to maybe watch this again is if you turned it into like a Rocky Horror Picture Show and you started, having various places where every time they say this, you do that, or
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, cool. Actually, this movie is Oh, you know what? This movie is better than I thought it was, babe. Because look, right here. Did you know that the All Things Bread website lists the brain number 4 on their Taste Best with Toast list? Huh. What do you know? I didn't know that.
Toast.
Cool. Wow.
This might be one of those films that you would put the Santa hat on the corner of your TV, and every time a person's head fits within the Santa cap, you take a drink.
Oh, is that what?
Yeah.
When did you come up with that? That's brilliant. Is
Yeah.
that something people do?
Yeah, that's a game people play.
Really?
Yeah.
How did I go through 54 years plus of my life and not know that?
Oh, wow. Yeah, probably
What?
because we're not drinkers, so
Mm.
we don't play a lot of, we don't. I should say as a family, we don't play a lot of drinking games.
No, we don't. Well, there you go. We will now.
Yeah.
Do we have a Santa hat? We have a Santa hat.
Yep,
we can do this.
We have a Santa
Sounds
hat.
good. How about we get out the Santa hat and every time I wear it, I drink? Isn't that how it goes?
No.
Oh, okay. I won't do that then. So Merry Christmas. I mean, Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You know, Thanksgiving, that holiday, that American holiday that also has a Canadian counterpart called Thanksgiving that's on a different date.
Yeah, they already had theirs.
For a different, it's not the same as ours, but they still give thanks. Mm-hmm. Or as they call it in, let's see, what would the Brits say? What would the UK, they would call it the American War against turkeys.
The American War against turkeys.
That's what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
But we are just a day past Veterans Day, so thank you. Thank you to all your veterans for your service. We appreciate all that you do, honestly. That's a tough career.
See what you guys fought for?
Mm-hmm.
Shows like this.
The freedom to watch
the freedom for us to watch crappy movies like this. Thank you for the freedom to do that.
Yes.
Then that's about it. Anything here at the end?
Not that I can think of.
No.
I think we killed it.
We totally killed it. We totally
Wait,
killed it.
but we didn't know. Well, we don't have to ruin it by how we killed it.
No.
But they don't kill it by exploding the building.
No.
So you will have to watch the film to see how it ends.
Who carries pure sodium bars around pockets, babe?
Exactly. For what reason?
Did we see a scene where he took it out of the science lab or something?
No. It just happened to be just like the tube of super glue just happened to be in his pocket.
Right.
I guess. Yeah.
Oh, that Jim. He's such a kidder.
Juvenile delinquent boys carry stuff like that in their pockets all the time.
Oh, they're the worst. They're the worst. You know why he did that? He knows that he can't go to Princeton. They won't allow it. It's against the law. So he's got to do something. He's got to get up to Japes up there in Canada. So, if you would like to share your views on the brain or any other parts of the body, you may do so. Cavebabble@gmail.com. We want to read your email. Send us meatloaf recipes. I haven't asked for that in a while, right?
Correct. Though I do have one I need to try. I have an Instant Pot pressure cooker. Yeah. And I have several cookbooks from Jeffrey Eisner. Put a plug for him. Yeah. And he's got a meatloaf recipe that I'm going to try someday.
He has several that use brain, as a matter of fact. So go ahead and look that. Yeah. And other body parts. Yeah.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I saw that in there.
Sweetmeats.
Sweetmeats. That's right. We love the sweetmeats.
I don't think I've ever had sweetmeat, nor have I a desire to eat sweetmeat.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease.
Which is the what? Gesundheit, what?
CJD.
Oh, CJD. You could have just said that, maybe.
CJD. I don't want. Mad cow disease.
Oh, mad cow disease. Now that I get. If you have some sort of emotion and an animal name, I'm into that.
Just don't eat brains and you're safe.
I'd never give a mouse a cookie or whatever it is.
Yeah, mouse a cookie, moose a muffin. Yeah, mouse a cookie.
Head on over to Facebook and join our Facebook group, Cavebabble Podcast. We will accept you. Valerie is very accepting, and I'm really not. I'm a curmudgeon, and I don't want any of you there. But you know me, I'm just mean. I'm so mean.
Crotchety old man.
That's right. Or if you listen to us on, Apple Podcasts, give us a review, please. Would it kill you to do that? if you like what you hear, or even if you don't like what you hear, I'm making you give us a good review. I'm using my brain. Okay, I'm going to send it out.
Can you just be positive?
Wait.
Let's all have positive vibes.
Babe, you're speaking while I'm trying to send my brain waves out. This is hard enough as it is. Wait, I may have sharded instead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it may have.
Beep.
So anyway, that's about it. I'm going to end on that note. Thanks for all the downloads and listens, everyone. We really do appreciate it. Until next time, we're out of here.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you to all your veterans.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone. All right.
Hopefully we will podcast again before then.
We have to now. We can't have this be our last hurrah for the year.
We need to. We do watch a lot of stuff, so I mean,
we do.
There's no reason why we can't. Yeah.
We even talk to each other about them, so
we do.
Just turn that recorder on.
We just got through binging Outlander series.
Oh boy, did we ever! We have one more season to that might drop sometime. So, talk about rough show. Okay, very earthy. Yeah, earthy.
Yeah. But that's another day. Yeah.
Okay, that's a different day. Cover your heads, folks. The brain's after you. Bye.
Bye.
Cavebabble.
Thank you. Oh, what a wonderful audience. Such enthusiasm.
15 years, blowing the doors off the competition. Podcasting to planet Earth.
PNRnetworks.com